purpose of this demonstration is going to be to sketch a quadratic equation from the vertex form. And this is actually the vertex form in front of you. I don't know if you remember it. And we contrast that to the standard form, which is ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to y. Okay, so this is the standard form. And the form above it is the vertex form. And we're going to use this form for today's demonstration. Okay? Now, what can we find out from the vertex form? We can find out a lot of the same things that we can find out from the standard form. The A tells me the direction of my parabola. So again, if it's positive, my parabola goes upward. If it's negative, it points downward like that. This one's a little bit more friendly in the sense that the h value and the k value tell me where my vertex is. Okay, and the way I'll go through that when we actually do the real demonstration. The y-intercept is when we make x equal to 0. So let's say make x equal to 0 and solve. And that will find your y-intercept. A little bit more difficult than the standard form where it's just the c value. Okay, and then from these three things, well actually four things, we can actually also find the x values, and that's where y is equal to 0. X-intercepts, make y 0, and solve. Okay, so let's go through a demonstration of this and see how we could actually make it work. Let's use this example. Let's say that 2 times x minus 1 quantity squared plus 6 is equal to 0. And let's see what we can do to quick sketch this parabola. Well, looking at my information right off the bat, I know that my a is positive, so my parabola is going to be opening upward. So that's one thing I know. I know that my h and my k are equal to 1 and positive 6. Now remember, why you might say, wait a minute, that's negative 1. But remember, the x is whatever makes this parentheses equal to 0. So I need a positive 1 minus 1. So that's why I chose a positive 1. hk, xy, 1, 6. So far, I've got this if I'm doing a quick sketch. Let's bring that up just a bit. I've got my quick sketch at positive 1, positive 6. So 1, 6. And I'm going upward. Now notice, I'm going to go ahead and sketch it anyway. And I'm going to fill in the important values later on. Like, for example, where does the y-intercept come in? Well, let's actually figure that out. What is my y-intercept? Remember I said you make y 0 and then solve for the x. So let's make, you make x 0 and then solve for the y's. That's my y-intercept. So here we go to my equation. 0 minus 1 is negative 1. Negative 1 squared is 1. 2 times 1 is positive 2. Plus 6 will give me my y, and that's actually 8. So my y-intercept is 0, 8. And actually that makes a little bit of sense when I look at my sketch. I want to solve now for my x-intercepts. Now look, with a very minimum amount of work, I've already gotten 2 important points. Let's solve now for where the x-intercepts are located. So again, my equation, let me just rewrite this quickly. Let's find the x. Subtract 6. Keep track of your work. Let's divide by 2. Let's take the square root of both sides. Remember, when you have the square root of a negative number, you need to break out the negative 1 and call it I. So what I have here is plus or minus 3i. And over here I've gotten rid of my square. So bringing that down, I just have x minus 1. Again, let's just keep track of what we're doing. And to solve for the x, move the 1 to this side. X is equal to 1 plus or minus the square root of 3 radical 3I. And that is your answer. Now notice I don't have to locate this x value because it's an imaginary number. It's above the x-axis. So once you get the y-intercept, the vertex, and your x values, you're all done. Okay, I hope that helps. You can go through this as many times as you need to.